Hello, and thank you for watching this speed build. You're watching scribbledsim. I am narrating my first ever speed build. What you're watching right now is me figuring out the shape of the house, etc. I haven't played Sims in years, and I literally bought Sims 4 probably a couple weeks ago because I had been watching several speed builders, and they kind of inspired me to try my hand at this myself, whatever. Um, and one of them is MsGryphi. I kind of binged her like crazy for about 3 weeks, and um, a bunch of others that I can't think of at the moment, but if I do remember them, which I will, I'll put them in the description. And then, yeah. So, just a quick thank you to all of them who make videos regularly, who made me want to give this a try. I started off this build. I wanted to make a basement that had most of the activity stuff in it. And then the house, like the main house, was just like your basic like living spaces. I kind of think of it in a way as like the family I moved in there are sisters and their dog. I kind of think of it as like it was their nana's house and they inherited it from her, and then they kind of maybe transformed the basement or something while like leaving the house, like how the nana had it. Right now I am having difficulties finding what stairs I want to use. I am figuring all this out. I decided to put the stairs in the shed. Because one of the sisters, her aspiration is to be a criminal mastermind. So I kind of wanted to make it so that way I could lock everybody but like household members out of the basement, but not like hinder their ability to like have people over and make friends, because I hate locking the doors every like 2 seconds. So I just put everything in the basement, and then that way they can still have people over and like cook for them and everything upstairs in the main house, and then they don't have to worry too much about like people getting in and snooping around in their lair, which I mean you'll see more of the basement towards the end. um, Again, this is my first speed build, so I apologize if it's kind of boring at the moment because I'm like building slow and like figuring things out. And I have built a couple houses so far in Sims 4. I used to play Sims 2 like a ton, and so that's what I was used to. And like I said, I basically binged a crap ton of build videos for The Sims 4 within the past like 2-3 weeks, and so everything I'm doing is basically based off the knowledge that I got when watching those. I'm making the porch right now in the back. I just wanted it to be wood, do that kind of thing. I wanted this house to look a little bit more like, I don't know, I don't want to say traditional because I don't know if that, I have like this thing where I really love brick houses, and so I wanted to make a brick house because I think they're adorable, and I always like it when they look a little bit weathered and stuff. They're just my favorite kind of houses to make. So yeah, I've got some stairs we're putting in there. Nothing too entertaining right now. I guess this is part. I'm trying to find windows that fit. I'm trying right now to find ones that fit, and then I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should match the door to the windows or vice versa. Oh, I'm putting these up here. It won't center, so I had to see if what I could do. So I ended up just putting these windows from Strangerville up in there, and then I found that door, and then I had to shorten the steps so that way it would center, and then based on the door that I find, then I find the windows I want to use. So this house ends up being $142,000 dollars, or simoleons. Dollars, no. It ends up being, so it ends up being like 143,000 simoleons in the end. If you do not paint, if you don't paint the walls and don't add in flooring or furniture and don't finish out the basement and everything, if you just if you were to download it and then delete the insides, the furnishings and everything, and it just be essentially the landscaping and the outside of the house, it actually comes in quite I think with 1,000 left if you're just starting, because I did use a lot of debug items, so there's that. I wanted the shed to kind of look inconspicuous, how in spy movies or whatever, they always have a little they go into a porta potty and pull a lever and then they get shot into their secret epic lair, and so I kind of wanted that kind of a vibe to happen with this. I mean, it's nowhere near gadgety or anything, but I mean, it's it's almost like they could have been living there with their nana when she was still alive. Or I was actually thinking about adding a grandma in with them anyways, but I don't know. So I'm putting these fences. I like fenced in lots. I've seen a lot of speed builds where people don't fence in their lots, and that's obviously fine. You can do whatever you want, but I personally, I like fences. In real life, I love fences because I don't like people being in my business, and ergo, why would my Sims want people being in their business? So that's what I did there. It's weird for me having to build a wall and then put the fence via the wall, because in Sims 2 when I used to build that, you just laid the fence like you laid a wall. So I'm using these little pillars to kind of give the front of the steps more a solid feel to it, and then I was kind of looking at other debug items. And then I found these and I really liked them because they climbing up. I love plants and things that climb up, so I really kind of went ham with those. And I try other things that don't necessarily work, but I still try. That I really wanted to use, and I do use later. It's just it didn't work at that current moment. And you can watch me worry about this tree that I don't even end up using because whatever. And again, I grabbed that truck and that car because I wanted a truck and a car, but then I ended up finding ones that I liked the look of better. It took me an embarrassingly long time to get these hanging planters where I wanted them, but they ended up being where I wanted them in the end. And I always accidentally select the house or the rooms, and then I have to deal with other things where I'm like, dang it, I don't want to move the whole room. I just wanted to click away from whatever else I was doing. I make a driveway here and then a little garden bed. A lovely technique I learned from watching MsGryphi. Making the garden underneath that. I'm sure she's not the only one who does it. I'm trying to make a path and then I don't like it, so then I just say ixnay on the path. Here's where I find the cars that I like. A big improvement over the last ones, I think. And then I don't like how it just kind of fades into grass from the brick, so I'm trying to find something to break that up. And I decide I don't like that and I pick something else. I'm having a really hard time picking trees here. I think it's just because I wanted to put trees because I like them, but then it just wasn't fitting with how I wanted the house. And then later on I fixed the roof. The roof looks horrible right now. And then I put that pot of flowers there. I'm trying out a billion different things from Debug. I end up liking this pink bush with flowers, using that quite a bit. That's where I decide that trees aren't worth it. I had plans for that planter. That planter, I was gonna like size some stuff down or whatever and collage plants in it, but it just never happens. You'd see it floating around the lot forever, waiting to be used. It never happens. I wanted to see if I wanted to raise the fences, but I didn't. Again, I'm just putting more plants from Debug. I didn't really want it to look like it was like a structured garden. I kind of wanted it more so to look like, you know, it's been years, and over the years, plants and have been put in, and they just kind of have found the spots they like and decided to live there. And I think that I like that kind of natural feeling rather than a contrived garden. Right now I'm again trying, oh, there's those hanging plants I wanted to use that I finally figured out how to put them where I wanted them. I put some lavender in there because I thought it made a nice little like natural wall in between the carport area and the grass there, but it's not awkward. And then I'm just putting lights in the garden area, switch to night mode so that way you can see it. Here's where I fixed the roof, because I didn't like I did the half gabled and it just didn't look good, so then instead I pull out this guy, and I have a hard time figuring out that I can't, those little arrows to turn it, like for some reason my brain didn't register them, and I spent way too long not knowing how to flip it around, but then I figured it out in the end. And then that's just me touching up the roof, making it look better. I decided to pull down the little eaves there, yeah. Make it look nicer. Then we add some rocks to the garden for texture. If you're not sure how to landscape, if that's maybe something you're having difficulties with, I recommend watching like terrarium builds, like real life terrarium builds, because the way they talk about laying the plants so they look more natural is really helpful in any kind of design you have to do with plants, I guess. Oh, I really wanted to use those, but they just didn't look good on anything. I think I need to use them with like a gazebo or something, or like a screened porch, or I don't know how. So many things in Debug. It's like ridiculous. I don't even keep that fern. And I decided those rocks looked too much like I was trying to make it look like the ocean, and it's just a cute little neighborhood house. It's not even anything crazy. Bougainvillea were not working. I ended up going with this. I think it's plumeria tree, but it was in Debug, so I used that. I liked how I used these planters with the plants in them as a home for the posts. Thought that was fun. I ended up using those hanging plants from earlier. Oh, and then right here I'm trying to add more stuff to the wall to give it more like texture and everything. Nope, see the hanging plants in there. But I couldn't for the life of me remember where the stupid vines were that climb up the wall, and I think I cut out my search for them, but right now I'm thinking about how I really wish I had those as I'm doing this, and I'm pretty sure I go on a hunt for them soon enough. I'm just making this pretty and lush and green, adjusting those guys, adding some flower bed dirt, and then this kind of dirt shadow around the porch to make it have more depth really was the real purpose of that, because it just looked so incredibly like weird, just going from white to grass all of a sudden. So I was like, we'll add a little bit of this. This is the hunt for, there they are. I found them. And then I go crazy with them because they're so pretty, and I want a house with them. At my house now, I have jasmine that I'm trying to grow up the fence outside my front door, and it doesn't like me right now. I mean, it's growing, it's just not growing up the way I want it to. I'm just trying to perfect this like backyard area. I wanted to give them a place where they could sit and maybe grill, and pretty soon I decide that I'm just going to carry the wood from the other back porch over. I keep trying to use that planter with the succulents on the little bench, and it's just not fitting into this build the way I want it to. It's just, and I always try and size up that little container with the sunflowers and the blue flowers. I always try and size it up and then realize, oh no, that's way too big. And see, I added the depth again. And a chimney because I felt like it needed it. There is no fireplace in the house. I just added it for decoration. But I put a china hutch inside, and you could easily delete the china hutch and put a fireplace instead. And the great thing is that the china hutch is kind of in the area in the house that would correspond with where the chimney comes out. I added some planters for gardening and a clothesline for laundry, because I figured that the Nana used the clothesline, but I did add a washer and dryer in the basement. So if you don't want to use the clothesline, you can delete that. I did the floor plan and the wall and floor swatch color picking off cam. Well, no, I recorded it, but it was just so long because, like, I was trying so many things. Like, you're seeing, like, me trying to decide what cabinets to use, and, oh, I make my decision. I really was going for a lot of warm tones, kind of warmer woods, not like anything too red, but these definitely have more yellow under. I'm adjusting this, make like a little island. I end up leaving that corner out, that little round area out, because it just wasn't fitting the way I wanted it to. And it ends up being a nice little nook for the trash can later, so that works. I really liked that the fridge matched, the wood matched like perfectly, so that was fortunate. I've never, in fact, this is the first time I've used that fridge inside of the little wood casing, so you're just trying to figure out what cabinets look best, and the order, like the configuration of them all. End up going with shelves instead of cabinets there, yeah. And you're gonna pretty soon, I take those baskets off the wall because they just frustrate me. But now you're gonna see, pretty soon at least, you're gonna see me start essentially vomiting debug items and clutter items onto the cabinet tops soon. So that way yeah, it's coming to that point. See, I put the trash can there. I like that trash can. I know some people don't like to use some of the more high-tech stuff because it feels like out of place, but I like it. I don't think it's too bad. Put a rug in there and get these little mason jar lights, and then they bug me later, so then I put them away and put them back. Yeah, this is where I start just taking everything that I think might look good in the kitchen out and putting it on the countertops, because I can, and because I like clutter. I like it looking like it's lived in. I like it looking like, you know, there's people there using it every day, and I think that's why a lot of us like the clutter, because it gives it more realism. It's funny because I love the clutter and I love that realism, but I don't like the hyper real, like alpha CC that people come out with. Like, some of it's okay, but I just, there's some of it that I'm like, no, I don't want to. I still want to feel like I'm playing a game. Pulling some stuff out there. If you notice any weird cuts that like seem like they don't go together, oftentimes it's either me taking way too long to search through debug for something. It's also a possibility that something wasn't cooperating with me, so I decided to take out the clip because I spend like 5 minutes trying to adjust something. That cutting board, I put that cutting board in and I had to take it out because it started to stink. I was like, I just saw green fumes coming up from somewhere, and I was looking around, and it was that cutting board. So I really liked the way it looked, having the cutting board underneath the spice rack and the little thing holding the spoons, but it ended up stinking, and it sucked, so it made me sad, but whatever, you know. You can try, and if it works, cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I love filling up the shelves and everything. But yeah, see, here's an example of like just taking. Oh, and I had to find. So I use the red shelf. A lot of other people, a lot of other sim builders and stuff that I watch use it too. I downloaded it from the link that MsGryphi had in one of her videos. It's just that floating shelf that helps you adjust things to the height you need them at, so that way you can clutter better. Anyways, I'll make sure to add a link down there, but also a link to MsGryphi's video, because she puts the link for the red shelf in every single video, and I literally have this. Oh, I was trying to put spoons in the sink, but I couldn't figure out how to do it, and then I was just getting frustrated, and I just gave up on it. So that's what that weird spoon debacle was. Looking at this, I don't really. I put this stuff on that little curved piece, and like I was okay with it at the time. Now playing with it there, I'm still okay with it, but it does feel awkward. But then I figure it makes sense. It's where people would probably put stuff in real life, so. I only wanted 4 chairs for this table, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I did the full 6. There's that china hutch that I put in there. That's the one that I was saying you could move and put a fireplace there if you wanted the fireplace. And then I put a nice little bookshelf. Oh, this is easily my favorite room in the house. It's just like a little tiny living room area, you know, but it's also like this front room of the house where you can like lounge and just look out the window. But there's also a TV in there. It's like the TV's like an afterthought. Like, yeah, we'll put it here because this is where we relax, but it also ends up being okay. I'm just trying to fill it with plants and stuff, and I really like that couch, or I guess love seat, I guess it is. It's just with it looks like it has like a wicker, like a high wicker back, and it reminds me of a Nana when I see it. Like, I just remember my Nana having like a big wicker chair with a really high back, and so I think about it and I'm like, oh, this is what a Nana's gonna have. And this room is clutter heavy. You'll see me struggle with that. I was gonna try to use that sign to add like I don't know what, oomph to the wall or something, but then I was just like, it's too big, it's too ridiculous, I'm not doing it. I like how I put these shelves at like a little diagonal setting, and then we have those little skeleton statues. I'm really pleased with the amount of clutter I got in here and how I have it placed. It just makes things feel, I don't know, like it feels very cluttered, but it feels cluttered in like a homey way, as opposed to like a you have a problem way. Like, I see this and I don't want to call hoarders. I see this and I want to sit in that chair and read a book. Like, so I think that's the fine line that you're walking when you decide to clutter shelves and clutter, like decorate with clutter. It's a fine line you're walking sometimes. But oftentimes we can. I love using that little snake plant there because I want a snake plant in real life and I just haven't bought one yet. I fell down a planting hole this year, and I have like more than 10 plants now that I take care of on a regular basis, and I love them. And I've also become the person who gives plants to people. I did that officially recently. I gave my friend an aloe that it was a little pup off of my larger aloe plant. Just fixing these curtains, adding more. See, I told you, I always size that stupid thing up with the sunflowers and the blue flowers. I always size it up and go, oh my gosh, that's so huge, and then size it back down. But I just want it to be a smidgen of a bit bigger. Like, just the tiniest bit bigger would make me happy. And I use those candles again in the basement. That little set, I think it came with movie night. The one with like that tall candle and then the box candle and then the little crystal candle. And here I am just making more clutter happen. It's just, I figure this room is kind of where they can sit and watch TV or, read or whatever. It's just a multi-purpose room. Oh, this is where I collect all the skulls. I pull all the little skulls out because I'm adding them to the clutter. Those are like my favorite things to decorate with, the little skulls. But it's just hard sometimes because not everybody has skulls in their aesthetic. So it's when I have a family in mind that I want to put in a space, if they are in any way, shape, or form skull friendly, you better believe I will have at least one of those, if not more, somewhere. Actually, I'm surprised. I usually use the little crystals to decorate too. Oh, you probably saw that text message that just popped up on my screen from my husband. Because he was at work when I was doing this, so he was texting me, and my text messages pop up onto my computer because I have an iPhone, and so it connects to my computer. I put that little water pitcher there because I wanted to. Now I'm making the sisters' bedrooms. I have very distinct personalities for them both planned out. Like the one sister's room that I'm doing right now, she's very all over the place. Like, she can't really stick with one thing. One of her traits is that like fear of commitment trait, so like she bounces from thing to thing. So like I have her just kind of like, her room kind of looks like a bit like jumbled, like, okay, everything's kind of here, like here's all my stuff to get ready, I give her a guitar and a camera and things like that. I love using the ceiling lights that they give us in here. I noticed that a lot of people just use the little disc lights and size them down or whatever and don't really do much else, and it makes me kind of sad because I really like all the lights, the little pendant lights and stuff. This sister is more, she's the one that wants to be the criminal mastermind or like enemy number one, I can't remember, but I have her in the criminal career track, and like she's got like the little deviance aspiration, and so I have her kind of, that's her kind of aesthetic, where she's a little bit darker and a little bit more rebellious. Quite honestly, like, both of their styles are like a mishmash of, like, if you split my style into two distinct boxes, it would probably be this, quite honestly. I hate white walls. I hate plain white walls. I like there to be stuff on them. I noticed too when I watch builds, a lot of people just use very light, pale colors on the walls, and I'm not about that. I like the molding and the wallpapers, and I like it to be crazy. I love those lamps with the tassels on them. But yeah, I made their bedrooms fairly simple with not too much in them because, as you will see, the basement has all of the pizzazz and personality and things to do in it. Just making the bathroom right now and adding stuff to it. Toothbrushes and clutter. We love clutter. I wanted to use that mirror and it would fit in her decor, so I did. I love that little flower mirror. I try and use that one all the time too. Put some towels, a basket of stuff, add some candles in there. I love candles. I always try and use the candles too. That's the thing too I noticed that I do. I put in the disc lights first, and then I add in the decorative lights, and then I delete the disc light. Or I just merge the two with the move object, because I can put the pen, and then I don't lose the lighting if I really need it. But with this, in this case, I did delete the disc lights in the ceiling, and then added the mason jar. Now I'm just adding the finishing pictures on the walls here. And then we're going to go down to the basement, I believe. Oh, we added a pet bed for their dog. The basement time. Yeah, so I figured that the one sister could have photography as a hobby. The one who's kind of like not married to anything hobby-wise. And then I put a big movie theater down here too. I made it as dark as possible, and then I gave it some color with the decor. But yeah, I figured they could have a little photo studio, because I figured too, with Miss Deviance, maybe she uses it to fake passport photos or ID photos, or, you know, something of the sort to that effect. And I also, okay, don't judge me, I put curtains on the walls in here to give the illusion that there was a window, just because I felt like I didn't want to put art in there, because it means it's going to be dark. They're going to be, well, I did put the tapestry up, but I mean, they're going to be watching a movie, so I didn't want to put too much distraction in there, but I liked the feeling you got from it just being thick, heavy curtains on the wall, and I figured that would help with sound absorption too, so it, you know, acoustics and all that jazz. The way I have this set up is you go down the stairs from the shed into what is like the laundry room slash like basement, almost like storage room, and you'll see it in a second. I'm just laying the groundwork, kind of like getting my idea out there, like, okay, I want this to be kind of this color scheme, this to be this. But yeah, so here I'm putting, like, it's almost like I want it to be just like this dingy little storage area. Like, I put a shelf in there for them to put things on, like storage, like, so if you're like an unassuming person, like you see like, oh, this is their storage area, but then you go through those doors and you see the real operations going on. But yeah, so I just wanted to put all that lovely clutter. Oh, my husband texted me again on there. Let's see. Oh, and then I decided to add a bathroom down there because I was like, it's going to be a pain in the ass to have them have to run up to the main house to pee. So I added a bathroom. And then I used the bare bulbs in that little area for them. And then I added cobwebs because I thought that felt right, and little cracks in the wall. And then I added those pipes to feel cool. I don't know about cool, but I liked it. I thought it was a neat little, like I said, just going with the theme of, like, you know, like the spy who goes into the bathroom and, you know, pulls a lever or flushes a toilet in the third stall from the left, and he falls through a hole and slides down or whatever. Like, I kind of wanted it to have that vibe. Just setting up the bathroom in here. I don't like that shower, so I switch it out. I just didn't like it. That one's better. Goes with the colors better too. I like those little tree decals. And then I felt like it was too gray in there because the main office was gonna be like gray and black. So I wanted to use this couch, and this couch just didn't vibe with the gray and black, so I ended up switching it to like the black and kind of like tan and like warm brown. And then the flooring I picked is kind of gray and brown, so it works out. Again, I like eclectic prints. I like putting things together that don't necessarily look like they would go together. I'm not a fan of like overly matchy, but like, and I just wanted plants down here because there's no windows. I wanted to make sure I was bringing life in. I put a little Lindsay there, so that way they can dance if they want to. Another little skeleton lady. Books in case they want to read. More artwork. Just again trying to really bring in more warm tones because I realized how like kind of cold it was feeling, and I mean, it is like the one sister's office is over here, the criminal mastermind, but like, and then I have such an issue here because I'm like making her office and I'm trying to find chairs that work, and then I realized that all of them were locked. The chair I wanted was locked because it was under career lock, so I don't know if I kept in where I type in the cheat for it, or if I didn't keep it in, but you'll see. I changed a bunch to that, and to that room, like I added the desk and the carpet and everything, and I cut out where I did it because I spent way too long figuring it out before I just typed in the cheat. And then I'm just finishing up in there, and that's it. That is the end. I guess thanks for watching, and come back. I will try doing it again. I'm wrapping this up. I'm just doing finishing touches. But yeah, thank you for watching my first ever speed build. And that is where I'm going to end it before I talk too much. Please come back again and leave any constructive comments below if you have suggestions for another build or anything like that. I want to keep doing this regularly, so subscribe if you have faith in me, and if not, that's cool too. But leave any kind of suggestions below, and I'm trying to come up with ideas for builds that I can do in the future. So thank you, and bye-bye.